Welcome to this week's edition of Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Chi-Cheng Lo. In Taiwan, President Chen and Vice President Lu have been in office for more than 6 years. Looking back, what have they accomplished? And look to the future, what are the remaining goals they hope to achieve? In today's program, we are very privileged and honored to have Her Excellency Vice President Anna Lu to come to our program to share with us her thoughts about where Taiwan is and where Taiwan is going. Your Excellency, welcome to our program.
Professor Lo, it's quite a pleasure to be on your program, Taiwan Outlook.
Thank you. Unfortunately, last week there was a fight in the legislature. And over the years, you've been advocating the so-called soft power. And democracy is a very important part of the soft power. How do you see the current political gridlock in the legislature?
It's no news to see fight in the Congress. However, it's certainly not my idea of soft power. Hopefully, that's the final fight in Taiwan's Congress. I hope from now on, everybody take the decision and to take care of everything, all the issues rationally.
But some people have said that this kind of political fighting represents the so-called balance of power in the legislature, but it also represents this kind of constitutional deficiencies in Taiwan's current constitution. Do you agree with that kind of assessment?
Yes. There are many kinds of constitutional deficiencies. The fact is that the Constitution was enacted in 1946 in mainland China, while Taiwan was not a part of China at all. So it's very ironic that we continue to implement such a constitution for 4 decades more. So it's time really to urge everybody to discuss it seriously.
There have been scholars advocating a more pure, political system, including parliamentary system or the presidential system. And currently, people say that the current one is a semi-presidential system. What kind of political system you are in favor of?
I've been in president office for nearly 7 years. My eyewitness told me that we have to change the system. The contemporary system is neither presidential system nor cabinet system. Once president and vice president are elected by the people, and once the president appointed premier, all the executive power is, vested upon the premier. Right. Making president enjoy only to the extent of national defense and foreign affairs. That's why it's so inefficient.
But it also has to do with the external relations of Taiwan with other countries. As we know that constitutional reform is a very controversial issue in Taiwan and also for other countries. Is that realistic to push for this kind of constitutional reform in Taiwan?
Well, domestically, according to our constitution, it's very difficult really to see a new constitution to give birth. However, we do have the demand to have a new constitution. So the best way is to start the constitutional education, to make everybody be aware of the importance of a good constitution. It will take quite a while. Because the procedure is so complicated, so there's no reason really to worry that the new constitution will come in the following year. So I think China or some friend in Washington may be a little too sensitive about that. If you expect the government of Taiwan, if you expect the democracy in Taiwan to become a very good one, certainly you have a reason to wish us to have a new constitution. It will take really quite a while.
But as we know, there are people advocating for so-called Second Republic. In other words, by freezing the current constitution and introduce a new one, that would be a faster way to introduce the constitutional reform. Do you, are you in favor of this kind of approach to adopt a new constitution altogether?
As I say, Taiwan is very democratic. Everybody can have some ideas. So let's talk and let's debate. It takes a while. So no one can really make a decision for the moment.
Okay, constitutional issue is also not, as I said, not only a domestic issue, but also cross-strait issues. And China has been accusing Taiwan of moving towards independence and using the constitutional reform issue as a scapegoat. Do you think that China is overreacting to the constitutional issues in Taiwan?
Well, the fact is that the PRC, ever since they are established, they have 4 new constitutions. They enact 4 constitutions, and the contemporary one already have a number of revisions already. If they can do it, why can't Taiwan do? So I think that Taiwan alone. And as I said, it will take quite a while before really we can have a new constitution. So just take it easy.
And in terms of cross-strait relations, as we know that, recent report said, indicate that there are more than 900 missiles now deployed on the opposite side of the Taiwan Strait. Yes. And the threat from the PRC seems to be increasing. How do you see the military balance in the Taiwan Strait?
In the year 1996, where the Taiwanese people, for the first time ever, to be allowed to elect the president, PRC was so frightened, so they attempted to launch missiles against Taiwan. But the fact is that the presidential election continued to go through, and the first president generally elected was President Lee Teng-hui. And certainly after that, the PRC speed up the deployment of the missile. The most recent report indicated that about 880 ballistic missiles targeting on Taiwan, plus approximately another 100 cruise missiles. So totally about 1,000 missiles in 10 years. From 40 ballistic missiles up to 900 missiles. Why? Obviously, China's interest is not only to take over Taiwan, if necessary, military, but also they want to demonstrate that the Russian China is powerful not only in economy, but rather in military.
But in the long run, are you concerned about the military imbalance in the Taiwan Strait?
Well, I worry. I think it started earlier. As I said, 10 years ago, they only have 40 ballistic missiles. Now they increased and split up the deployment of the missile up to 900 in 10 years. Certainly their desire is very clear. They want to show they are military giant.
But some people argue that Taiwan does not have the resources available to engage in some sort of arms races with the PRC. Do you agree with that kind of assessment?
There's no reason that we run on arms sales with China. China is a giant. It's a rising giant. There's no way we compete with them. Recently, I proposed 3 C's principle for the construct engagement with China rather than destructive engagement. To launch arms race is just a destructive engagement, which is not to the interest of people on Taiwan, nor to the people on mainland China, or to anyone else on Earth. So the best way is to advocate for a soft power. I've been known as a strong advocate for soft power. By referring to soft power, I include at least some items such as human rights, as a fundamental one, democracy, and peace. And I also emphasize love. The love between people, the love between countries, and plus technical progress.
So speaking of engagement, are you advocating for more interactions between Taiwan and China and trying to transform China into a more democratic and human rights respecting country?
I propose 3 C's principle for a constructive engagement between Taiwan and China, namely peaceful coexistence and cooperation and co-prosperity. 和平共存, 互助共荣. The fact has been that Taiwan's investment and trade on mainland China is a major force for the recent development of China. China better recognize the contribution by Taiwan, and Taiwanese can take the credit. Taiwan really helped China to rise up. It's time to urge the Chinese leader to show their respect, their appreciation, and their willingness to coexist and cooperate with Taiwan.
But do you think that Taiwan have get enough credits for helping China to develop its economy?
Not at all. That's why I have to emphasize. I have to take the credit.
But in terms of democracy in China, there have been some criticism about censorship, deprivation of freedom and so on inside China. What's the role of Taiwan in terms of democratization in China?
In the past, the Taiwanese people suffer a lot from the autocracy, repression of the former administration, the KMT. So we pay price, and we done the experience how to overturn an autocratic regime. And in 2 days, President Chen called on a forum, Rising Democracy, and obviously Taiwan is ready to share with what we have. And also a year and a half ago, I succeeded in organizing a Democratic Pacific Union. One of our common goals is democracy. We would like to coordinate, to integrate all the diverse for democracy together. Democracy is not a gift sent by the God. On the contrary, it's something that everybody has to pay the price.
But as we know that, citing the example of this kind of chaotic situation in the legislature, the Beijing leadership has been telling their people democracy is not suitable for Chinese society. How do you respond to that kind of criticisms or reservations on the part of China?
As I say, the democracy is not a gift by the God. It's an engineer or long-term goal that we have to do, we have to try, and we have to install. Looking at the experience of Taiwan, so many freedom fighters struggle, sacrifice, and earn it. But still, some people made mistakes, take advantage of that democracy without cherishing it. It's time really to urge everybody to reflect what mistake we have made, what direction we should move on, and what are our agenda now. The consolidation of democracy, the institutional reform, obviously, is on our agenda.
Madam Vice President, could you tell us in specific or in concrete, what are the steps that Taiwan can take to help China, being transformed to a democracy?
Well, we can encourage all the peace lovers and advocates for human rights and democracy in China, in Hong Kong and Macau, to cooperate with our freedom fighters in Taiwan, and to educate everybody that freedom, democracy is the fundamental human right for everybody. And democracy is the best way to assure global peace. So the education is very important, and certainly institutional reform, including constitutional reform, judicial reform, and media reform, I think are essential to democratization.
Vice President, you just mentioned the Democratic Pacific Union. As we know that you are the chairperson, the first chairperson of founding chairperson of the DPU. So when we come back, we will talk about the major activities and goals of the DPU. Let's take a short break.